Hello guys, Brad with an update for you guys on how things went with Snap at the trial. Clearly it's my day off. I don't wear a work uniform 24/7. I probably wear a work uniform about 22/7, but I don't care. I'm off to enjoy some sun, get some exercise in after this. But though it is my day off, I'm doing this video today because my dear friend Bridie Charlesworth, Gay Brides, she reached out to me this morning and she's like, what happened with Snap? Did she pass the trial? And I'm like, dude, I Instagram lived it. I had my mate Adam do the whole thing, and she said, I haven't seen the footage, but she actually said that the footage cut off. She goes, Snap broke her drop, and then after that the footage cut out. So let me clear all of that up for you. I'm going to start at the very end and then I'm going to walk it forward and sort of fill people in on that. So for those that don't know, I spent a lot of time in New South Wales, done a couple of trips to New South Wales in the past week. One of them was to Hans Eber's Esther Schalke seminar. Two German folks that are, Esther's a veterinary behaviourist, Hans is a working dog guy. He's involved with paramilitary police dogs at a very, very super high level. He was a special operator himself and handled a canine operationally, and now he's retired from that. Esther makes a good joke that that's due to his age, and Hans understandably had a pretty interesting facial response to that. But anyway, there you go, Hans, I've made the joke. I've enjoyed it. And so we went up and did a seminar with them, which was great. They had a look at Snap working together with me, and we're actually very complimentary. So we'll get into that maybe another time. Maybe that's another post. Let me know if you want to hear about it. But it's probably lost, to be perfectly honest, unless you're hearing it come from their mouths. So then the second trip up was for me to actually go up with the intent to title Snap. There's a test called the Mondio Ring Aptitude Test. And it's basically, although there is an obedience-like component to it, it's not graded. It's simply pass-fail. It was a big deal to me because it was the first time I've trialled a dog. I didn't feel any nerves per se, but I'll get into that a little bit later too. But I've got to be honest, having all the other trial work that I've seen and been around and been involved in, the standards are quite exacting. And the MAT test is by comparison to the later levels such as BH, IPO, Ring 1, 2, whatever, it's a hell of a lot more accessible and easier for anyone that owns a breed that's able to participate. So, Snap passed. We got a lovely certificate from Working Canine Dog Club, officiated that. Karen is the trial chairperson, was the trial chairperson there. Hans signed off on the certificate, which is awesome. That's through the Working Malinois Association of Australia. They're associated with this mob called the FMBB, who are like the World Malinois Association. Snap has her scorebook here, which has her details on it. The top line of that, I'm not sure if you can see it. No, we'll hit shadows. Top line of that is now filled out, that she's passed her MAT test. So that's like in school terms, that's like her permanent record. So it now says that she has an official achievement. So anywhere she goes in the world, there's recognition with that, with the organisation that we're with and through the FMBB that is attached to Snap. So let me just put these down for a sec. The way that the trial went. So there's a healing component. Those of you that saw the Instagram video, I'm not sure how to download that. So if someone knows, let me know. Otherwise, the actual video of her doing that may be lost. I have heard there's another copy, but I'm yet to get one. So there's a healing component. You're allowed to encourage the dog during the healing. I tried not to do that. I was pretty comfortable with how Snap went there. My walking was a bit off. I was trying really. I walked differently to how I normally would. I was trying to walk what I considered to be trial-like. All I needed to do was relax, and when I did that about halfway through, the healing picked up. So it just goes to show how powerful the pictures that we send to our dog are. The next aspect of that was some crowd work. So those of you that may have seen the footage, which should be on Facebook, it'll be on YouTube soon enough, of Snap doing some impromptu crowd work at a demo day that we were doing the day before the trial on a Saturday. That was way harder than what we would encounter in trial. and so Snap passed out with flying colours. The next step was that I could choose a person to hold the leash from within that group of people that was milling around Snap. So I handed the leash to the nearest guy, Justin. Justin held the leash. I just told Snap to lay down. Lay down is an informal command for me. I walked out about 25 metres, called the dog, beautiful recall. I was pretty happy with it. Then from there I walked the dog back in. And if I'm correct, I believe that the gunshots were next. So then there's, I think there's a couple of gunshots after that. Snap just has to be non-reactive. You can even pat your dog all the way through it. You can praise your dog in between exercises. You can do all this stuff in a mat test. You can help your dog through exercises a little bit. And then there was a test where Snap was tied out. So what Bridie was talking about in a tie out, if anyone saw the footage, Snap initially laid down and then got back up. Let me just make one thing perfectly clear. I told my dog lay down. It's an informal command. Okay, I have no strong expectations around that. It's a fairly contextual command. I use it in multiple scenarios. And I didn't tell my dog to drop or sit. I didn't put it in a commanded position because I hadn't trained her to do that with me being out of sight for 3 minutes. So I just did that, and to pass the test, the dog didn't have to stay in that position. It was more, the whole mat test is more an evaluation of where the dog is at temperament-wise than the training. So Snap got up, was pretty chilled out. They're more interested in whether or not the dog's freaking out because it's alone and because the handler's gone. That wasn't the case. I returned to Snap. She was cool when I returned. The footage will show that. That was it. We passed the test. So that's the update on where things are at. Snap is now a titled dog, and I have titled the dog. Let's be really clear though. I can say I've titled the dog, but not a single aspect was graded. Also, it's perhaps the easiest test available. I did it because it was offered to me, because I wanted to do something with my dog. So it is an achievement. For many people have big nerves about doing something like that with their dog. Some of my fellow competitors expressed nerves. I know that definitely there was a lady from my club that felt great nerves, and she did great anyway. I didn't feel any nerves about that. I wasn't nervous on the trial field. The only thing I wanted to do was remember the healing pattern and not have to ask everything 4 times. I achieved those aims. I was happy with the experience. I was happy with how Snap went. That's a dog that she hadn't flown since she was 8 weeks old. She flew up, then she got like 10 minutes out of the car, then she got in the car, then we drove for hours. She had a little bit of exercise, which if you follow the Instagram stuff, you'll see that that was more or less the routine. There wasn't a lot in the day for her. She was cooped up a lot. She's been cooped up a lot for the whole last week because we've been travelling to and from seminars and waiting in between periods in the seminar where she can be toileted and trained and whatever else. So I'm really happy with the way that she's handled all of that restriction. Not all Malinois will cope that well. I'm grateful to have a dog that is genetically disposed towards coping with that, and of course I put some hard work in there that sits on top of the dog that I was provided, the quality of the dog that I was provided by VARG Kennels. Yeah, apart from that, would I recommend that anyone else do it? Yeah, if you've got a working breed, it's not very arduous, and if you think that those obedience components are arduous, then I would say to you, that's all the more reason to do it, because it's really only some simple heel work. There's not really a performance criteria of any type attached to that. You need a recall with your dog, which everyone should be working towards anyway. So, and then of course, you know, gunshot. Like if your dog is screwy with noises, working on the dog accepting loud noises is a really positive thing for you to get involved with. That's a whole rabbit hole we could go down, but we're not going to go into it now. And then, of course, the dog being okay when you leave it. So for the vast majority of dogs that are appropriate to compete with, I would say if you own one of these dogs, if you own a German Shepherd, if you own a Doberman, whether it's show line, working line, your dog, you really should be looking at doing something like this test. It's a really good entry-level thing. Even if you don't want to compete, it gives you an objective standard to shoot for. Which I found really different for me. Almost 16 years training dogs, You know, my only standards predominantly are my own, and although I try to keep them quite high and what I shoot for to be quite high, I just shoot to try and do better dog training all the time. That's sort of in good stead with Snap. You could have passed that test with a lot less training than what Snap's had, and you certainly don't need to be training dogs for 10 plus years to be able to manage it. It's very, very accessible. Apart from that, I guess I would like to thank everyone at my club that offered me advice and everyone that competed on the day. Certainly thanks to Brad Thurlow and Karen Eaton. They do a lot of work, as do a lot of other people whose names I won't get into, behind the club that working Canine Dog Club that I'm involved with that actually put on that trial. Thanks to Hans and Esther for the good training, and you know, Hans for having a bit of a laugh afterwards. That was fantastic. So that's it. That's my wrap up. Whether I'm thinking about doing a BH next, it's looking reasonably likely. BH is sort of mat, then BH, and then after that you can do all the IPO levels, which is what used to be called Schutzend. The terms are used almost interchangeably, but they're the proper correct terms. It looks like I'll do a BH at the moment. I've had invitations from some ring sport guys telling me that Snap's very suitable to do ring sport with because she's got strong nerves. I'm not entirely sold on anything other than just doing a BH next, and I'll assess where things go. I just like doing stuff with my dog, and this, you know, there was no bullshit politics. It was pretty chilled out. There was a good vibe there. It wasn't sort of too factional and tribal, and it was not at all like the previous dog sport experiences that I've had. I'm also probably, I don't know, 8-10 years older than I was then, and so if there was stuff there, it probably wouldn't affect me in the same way. That's it. That's the wrap up. For those of you that follow Snap's journey along to this point, thank you. Seriously, like there was some guys there at the trial that really surprised the shit out of me actually, because they actually knew who I was, and they're like, I know Snap and I follow your stuff. So Luca and Dimmy and the others, that's really cool that you guys. That's really cool that you guys follow along. To hear that stuff is kind of encouraging, because I'm just a little old Melbourne dog trainer just plugging away and enjoying my dog, and it's always a bit of a trip to me to hear that stuff. So it's a long video. That's it. I got it done on my day off, so I've got to get points for that. But for right now, I'm going to post this to the internet, and then I'm actually going to go and enjoy this sun before it goes away, because I've not had a proper day off in weeks, and I am going to enjoy myself. So, take care guys. I'll see you next time, and thanks for following along.